You won't believe what powerful wealth building tool that 76% of active duty, veteran, military qualified people are completely missing out on. This is Nuggets. Let's get it. Today we are talking about the VA loan. That's right, the VA loan. 76% of people that are qualified to use this amazing, powerful entitlement benefit. That's the way to think about it. It is a benefit. 76% of you that are out there that are qualified, that could be using it, you could be building your future wealth, are not doing it. First things first, let's just make the case for home ownership. There are so many millionaires that have been made just through the purchasing, owning, renting, investing into real estate. It is one of the most secure and safe things because it is a physical asset. If you buy the right house in the right location, or even if you buy the wrong house in the right location, you're sitting on a potential gold mine where this property is going to double in value every 10 years. And so I am just here. This program is here to encourage you to take the leap into home ownership. This unlocks your future. Instead of PCSing every couple years and renting, why don't you use your VA loan, buy a house, and rent it to your coworkers? That way they can rent and save some money. They can pay your mortgage. And then when you buy the right house in the right location, which is something we're going to get into on this program, you buy the right house, right location. Then when you go to move, you're going to put 20, 30, 40, $60,000 into your pocket, right? Or you could even hold on to this asset that accrues value over time. You could literally hold on to it and just let somebody else pay the principal, pay the mortgage, and you just watch what it's worth just tick up over time. People talk about my parents' generation, how they were buying houses for $20, $30, $50, $60,000. Well, once my dad retired, their house was worth $350,000. They gained $300,000 by just living. And like, this is the biggest point that I've made to people when they argue with me about renting versus buying. Yes, okay, affordability, but the point is you're paying somebody. So wherever you go, somebody's principal and interest is getting paid. You are increasing somebody's equity in a property. And all we mean when we say equity, how much you owe versus how much it's worth. That's what equity is, the difference. How much I owe versus how much it's worth, right? So if it's worth 400 and I owe 300, I've got 100,000 in equity. And so if you go rent a place, all you're doing is building equity for somebody else when you could buy a home, rent out one of the bedrooms, and build equity for yourself. You're so advantaged in the military when you're active duty and even as a veteran, but especially active duty because they are literally paying you to move. And so if they uproot you and bounce you all around, every time you show up to a place, the first thing you should be doing as you're in processing with the military, right? As you're going through those steps, the next step should be find an affordable property. Find something you can afford on a monthly basis. Buy the best property in the most desirable area that you can afford on a monthly basis. I just want to talk about some of these things with the VA loan. So one, no down payment required. Now, there are other costs inside of buying a house, paying for an inspection, okay? Paying for closing costs, which a lot of states, it's negotiable. Here in Georgia, I'm in Augusta near Fort Eisenhower. That's a negotiable amount. So we could put it on the seller or we can kind of negotiate what that price would be. They have super competitive interest rates with the VA loan because it is backed by the Veterans Administration. They are covering the loss if you were to default on this loan, or at least covering some of that loss. No private mortgage insurance. So ever since 2008, they started this thing called PMI, private mortgage insurance. This is an insurance that you pay that protects the bank. in the case that you don't make your mortgage payments. Well, on every other loan, right? With some exceptions, but most every other loan, you're paying PMI unless you put 20% down. So if it's a $300,000 house, that is $60,000 that you would need in order to put that down payment down so you didn't have to pay PMI. If you pay under that 20%, PMI automatically added into the loan. You, as a veteran, because of this entitlement and benefit, you pay zero down and have no PMI, no private mortgage insurance, because your insurance, the private mortgage insurance on yours, is the Veterans Administration. Flexible credit requirements. I know that the credit score is extremely low. It can be extremely low to qualify. Like I am talking low fives, right? I've even heard high fours in some places. And so you can literally have extremely low credit score and still qualify to buy a property. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, I got myself into a tight spot. I have a bad credit score because I got into things that I couldn't afford. Why would I buy a house? The property and the sale of the property, 1, 2, 5, best case scenario is 5 to 7 years later. That's how you maximize that equity. If let's just say it's every 2 years you buy and sell a property, those things are going to appreciate by 20, 30% in that timeline. So if you buy a $300,000 home, the likelihood that that home is worth 340, 350, and you've been paying it down that whole time, you literally, after the closing and you pay real estate fees and all of that stuff, you literally could be pocketing 40 grand. Now, if you have a low credit score and you have some debt, now you're a military member. I know what it's like. I'm a veteran myself. Like you get in over your head, that cash is flowing. You know it's coming on the 1st and the 15th. You don't have to worry about it, right? And you start spending, racking up the credit card bill. There are not very many things in your military life that drop $40,000 into your pocket unless you get a sign-on bonus or something else. So you could literally, as you were PCSing, do this every 2 years. You could buy a new home, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in your pocket the next time you move. And now what you're doing is you're open up the world of investing and wealth building. Now you can roll those dollars into the next property. Buy one that needs a little renovation, take your cash from there, put it in the renovation. There's just so many options for you guys. There's limits on closing costs. The VA loan program limits what borrowers can be charged for closing costs, making it more affordable for you. And then there's no prepayment penalties. If you pay off the loans early, no penalty for paying off that loan early. Now, there's just so many myths that run around with the VA loan. It's kind of crazy. And so like some common ones are only first-time home buyers can use a VA loan. That's false. That you can only use a VA loan once. That is true as you are currently using it, but it's actually not 100% true. It actually, what it is you have an entitlement. Let's say that the entitlement is $600,000. If you were to buy a $300,000 house, you still have $300,000 of entitlement. Now, it's not perfect math like that, and any of you who have tried to get disability, you know what kind of math the VA does. But if you are interested in using this entitlement and you want to find out more about it, hit us up. Our contact, there's a form that is linked down in the description. You go fill that thing out. We will hit you up with all the information you need so that you can start working with wealth. You can start building wealth, start leveraging the fact that you get paid to move every couple years and you have access to a new market. You have access to new homes, new investments, new opportunities. I know a few active duty guys who are leveraging their full-time military job and leveraging the cash flow there to buy and invest in fix and flips, fix and holds, rental units, and they're just constantly building wealth. Now, the thing to remember about houses, I have to remind people of this all the time, is that money that you put into the property is not gone. It is just in the house. It's like you taking your money and putting it into a checking or a savings, putting it into a money market account, putting it into that thrift savings plan, right? Which the stock market is kind of all over the place. But like taking your money, and when you buy a home, that money is not lost. It is just in the asset. It's like if you bought a certificate of deposit, they call it a CD. They make you sign up for 6, 9, 12, 18, 24 months. So you're basically committing that I'm going to give you this $5,000 and I don't get it back for this many months. And then they promise a return. They say you're going to get 5% return on this CD if you don't touch this money over that time. This is the same idea, is you're just putting that money in the house, committing to not touching those dollars until you sell the property. That is the whole idea here, is your money's not gone. It is just resting in the asset. And then when you go liquidate or sell, when people say liquidate, they just mean sell. When you go sell that asset, you now get that liquid capital, all the money you put into it, right back into your pocket, plus some, because you've grown equity over time. So I know that this is a bonkers thing to think about. Like most of you guys probably haven't registered this, but like this is what this channel is about. So like this, subscribe to this, share this with your friends, because I'm going to keep bringing the heat. I'm going to come up with actual strategies. I'm going to come up with actual advice. This is an education channel, right? So not financial advice, education, but I'm going to give you some tips, tricks, and strategies of how you can leverage your job, your money, and make it make more money. The whole idea of living the dream, it's right here behind me, right? The whole idea of living the dream is that you don't have to trade your time for money. You don't have to give people your life, your time, and get money back. That you actually give money and money comes back to you and there's more of it. That is how you live the dream in life, and you can do it through real estate. I'm telling you, you can do it through real estate. All right. So I'm Nugget of Augusta. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.